Hi everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today's Leetcode daily challenge is sum of absolute differences in a sorted array. This is a medium level question. In this question, we have been given a sorted array in ascending order or a non decreasing order. Now, what we have to do in this question is we have to find the sum of absolute differences between nums of I and all the other elements of the array. What we mean here is if we have 2 here, right, we have an array 2 3 5. In this, what we have to do, if we take the first element, now what we have to return is we have to return the absolute difference between, like this, 2 minus 2, 2 minus 3 and 2 minus 5. Now what does absolute difference mean? It means that whatever the value is, it will always be returned as positive number. Although when we get 2 minus 5, it is supposed to be negative, but when we are using an absolute difference, it will be returning a positive value. So now what will be the output here? This will be 2 minus 2 will give 0, this will give 1, and this will be giving 3, so we'll be getting 4. Now in the same way, we have to get the values for 3, and in the same way we will be getting for 5. Now for the result that is expected is we have to return an array which will be containing all these absolute differences sum as an array, right? So what we will be returning here as, it will be an array. First one will be 4, the other one will be, if we have 3, so first will be 3 minus 2 plus 3 minus 3 plus 3 minus 5. So what we will be getting here is 1 plus 0 plus 2. So it will be 3. The other element will be 3. Now for 5, what we will be getting? 5 minus 2 plus 5 minus 3 plus 5 minus 5. So here we will be getting 5 as an answer. So we will be appending that in an array, and this is our final result. Now let's move on to the approach. So the basic most brute force approach will be, the brute force approach that we will be going is, we will be using two loops, right? One we will be using I, which will be starting from 0 to n, right? And the other one, if we are using as j, it will also start from 0 to n, right? Now what we will do, we will take a value sum, and we will be taking the absolute difference between the values. If it is nums, then nums of I minus nums of j. Now before the starting of this j loop, every time sum will become 0, right? So now we have the sum for one number, right? If we have 2 3 5, so when I is equals to 1, then for 0 index, for I is equals to 0, for 0 index, what we will get, we will get this sum. So outside this j loop, we will be appending the value in result. So what we will do here is result dot append sum. So this is our basic approach for this question. The time complexity will be O of n square, right? Because we are using two loop. So this, since this approach is not efficient or optimized, approach is not optimized, so we will move on to other approach to see how does the optimized approach work. So for optimized approach, we will be using prefix and postfix sum approach for optimized. So in prefix, what we will be doing, normally in the prefix sum we are summing up the value from left to right. So if we have the array is 2, 3, 5, so our prefix sum will be 2 plus 5, 2, 5 and 10. Now we will also be taking the postfix sum. So postfix sum will be having, first one is 5, right? So we will be storing 5 here. The other one will be 5 plus 3, so it will be 8, and the first one will be 8. 10. Now what we have the prefix and postfix sum. Now when we were taking the absolute difference at any index, that value was not getting included, right? Because if we are taking 2 minus 2, it will be 0. So we have to exclude this value and include the rest of the elements, right? So if we are taking left sum, so in order to exclude that value and include that value, we need to multiply the number with I. For including this value, we are, means including the rest of the elements, right? We are multiplying that value with I, and to just remove that value. So since 2 minus 2, in this 2 is also included, right? So we have to remove that 2. We are subtracting the prefix sum. In the same way, when for the postfix sum, what we will be doing, we will take, if we take it as right sum, so we will be subtracting, if this is postfix sum, since the value will be greater for this, so we will be doing postfix sum minus n minus I minus 1 multiplied by nums of I. So what is this? We are taking the rest of the elements and multiplying it with nums of I, and we are just subtracting the value. To dry run it, we can take the previous example only. To if we have 2, 3, 5 for the 0th index, right? We have the I value as 0, so I multiplied by 2 minus 2, right? So it will be minus 2. Now here the postfix sum at that index, so we have to get that values at index, right? So we will be taking it as postfix sum of I and prefix sum of I. So it will be 10 minus, here we have n minus I minus 1, n value is 3, right? Length of the array is 3. We have I as 0 and minus 1, so it is 2 here multiplied by nums of I, which is 2. So we are getting here value as 10 minus 4, which is 6. Now we need to sum up both of this value. So what we will be getting here as minus 2 plus 6. The value we will get here is 4, which was according to this, according to our calculation in the absolute difference, it is right. So this is how we will be moving on forward for the optimized approach. Let's move on to the code. So whatever little doubts are there, it will be clear with that. So let's see the code now. So what we were doing here, we were first finding the prefix and postfix sum, right? So we will declare an array for prefix sum. We have to declare n here. So n was the length of the array, so we will take n as length of nums. Now we have prefix sum, and we will also find postfix or suffix sum, so it will also be the length of n. Now we have both of them. Now we need to find the sum, right? So uh, we can take for the prefix sum the first value, and the postfix sum the last value will be the number on that index only, right? What I'm trying to say is, if we are taking prefix at 0, it will be equals to nums at 0, right? So we are writing here directly nums of 0, and for postfix or the suffix sum at n minus 1, right, it will be equals to nums minus 1, nums n minus 1, right? So we are starting here only. Now we will be iterating in a loop to calculate the sum for the rest of the values, we will be starting from 1 only, 1 to n. It will go till n minus 1, right? So for storing the prefix value, prefix at I is equals to prefix of I minus 1 plus nums at that index. In the same way, for postfix, we will have we will be going in the opposite direction. So it will be n minus I minus 1 is equals to suffix of n minus 1 n minus I plus nums of I, nums of in the opposite direction. So n minus I minus 1, right? Now we have the prefix and postfix sum. What we have to get here, we have to add it in a result. So if we take the value as result, variable as result, so now we will start iterating on that array. For I in range of n, left sum is equals to what we were doing, I multiplied by nums of I minus prefix sum at that index, right? So prefix sum. For the same way we are doing right sum, it was n minus I minus 1, right? So n minus I minus 1 multiplied by nums at that index minus this value was subtracted from the postfix sum, right? So we were doing postfix of I minus, right? So we have this. Now what we have to do, we have to append this, the sum of left sum and right sum, right, in the result. So result dot append left sum plus right sum, and after the loop we will just return result. So now run this, let's run this code. We have used, okay, it will be postfix here. Let's run the sample code. Let's submit it. So this code has been accepted. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. I will be mentioning the code in the GitHub. I will be uploading it in GitHub, and the link will be in description. You can access the code from there. Also, if you understood the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also hit the bell icon to stay tuned for the further Leetcode daily challenges.